So does this look familiar at all? Rain, rain, rain. Well, I guess it's that time of year. It is late winter, early spring, and this is when we typically get a lot of rain, and it can cause some problems, and I've had a lot of questions, so I'm going to hit some of those points. Plus, we've been going nuts here the past 2 days, just doing work on the property, getting prepared for this, so I'll put it all up. If you want to watch it, watch it. If not, Netflix, whatever. Here we go. It ripped off, so that piece has got to go back on here, and I got to screw that back on. I bought some replacement gaskets here, so he's drilling out these rivets. We're going to replace these with the gaskets, and man, they're not cheap. Good Lord, they're like that one's like 250 bucks, and that one's almost 200 bucks.
Over there.
That ryegrass I put down on my septic system. Damn, it's almost like you know what you're talking about, Doc. Put down seed, put down some nitrogen, that crap grows. Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? And this guy hit it on the way in. I was winding in on the top, and this beast hit that little piece of whatever. Oh my goodness. I just cut these things. Look at it. That's crazy, man. Kind of looks like spring out here until we get a frost, but man, they sure are pretty. Well, it's raining lightly. All that wet grass up under his thing, because if I keep having all this rain and all these high temperatures, that Bermuda is going to start to come up here soon. There he goes. Okay, so before I go out and start running all my errands, let me address some of these issues that are coming up with all this water. Of course, we all know it's hard to try and fit in a cut, and that's what we're doing. You know, 2 days of clouds and rain, 1 day of sun, boom, grass grows, and rain's coming in the next day, and you're panicking because you got to get out there and cut. Just do your best. Cut as often as you can. Let's talk pre-emergent. I say this all the time. You really need to wait till you have 2 days of sunshine to put out your pre-emergent. I want that, at least that upper layer of soil dry. Let me explain what happens. You want that pre-emergent in the soil. So you put your pre-emergent down, your granular or whatever, run your irrigation if you can, and it will start to work into the soil. Then you're good. Now, if you have another rain, the rain's gonna come and it's gonna work even further down until it hits the saturation point. When you have clay soils, there's silts and silicates, and they sort of bind up like this at some point. That's the saturation point. Once they bind up like this and the soil is saturated, water starts to run off. So if you just wait till your soil's a little bit dry, put down your pre-emergent water, just get it in barely into the soil, you're good to go. It's not gonna run off once it's in the soil. Make sense? The same thing is true with fertilizers like a green shocker. Now I use green shocker on the pond exclusively, and it's an instant release granular. You put it down, water it, turns to water like that, turns into a liquid like that, goes right into the soil. I don't use slow release fertilizers on the pond front, simply because if I have 2 days of just rain, that slow release fertilizer, what's gonna happen? It's gonna sit there and melt and wash off into my pond. I use it on the back, I use anywhere else, but on that pond front, I only use green shocker. Someone was asking, I'm playing with the shepherd's hook, sorry. Someone was asking about DGL, the new fertilizer, which is an all fast release nitrogen fertilizer with iron in it. I'm hoping in the next few weeks it'll be available on Amazon, and man, it's fantastic. Now you can, like on a PGF Complete, you can put down PGF Complete for your first round, and then once your grass really starts to pop, if you want to push it, put down a coat of DGL, just bump up that nitrogen level a little bit. That's really all plants want to really start that growth surge, is they want that extra nitrogen. So you can put down your PGF Complete, wait a week or two, boom, hit it with some DGL, you'd be great to go. What else we got going on? Don't forget the lawn guides, of course. I say this every video. The lawn guides, over 2 million people have used them. freelawncareguide.com is the cool season. And at the very top, there's a link to the Bermuda and then the Zoysia websites. They're up, they're free, there's calendars, there's every question you could possibly want answered is on there. We cover subjects like, if you had grubs last year, coming up pretty soon, you might need to treat for them again. What happens if I see some fungus? What should I do? What kind of fertilizer should I use? I mean, everything you would want to know, those questions are answered. Seeding, everything. So get the guides. So today, what am I going to do? I'm out here alone today. I'm all alone. It's bachelor day out at the farm. So, but I got to get some errands done. I got to go check raccoon traps. We have a raccoon infestation on the back side of the property. And last year we took out 72 raccoons. And then I haven't trapped any for 6 months, and now I'm seeing them all show up on game cameras again. Why am I doing that? It's just an imbalance. So if we ever want to have chickens up here, I've got to get rid of some. I got to get this raccoon population down. We used to have turkeys when we first bought this property, but man, I'll tell you what, people think raccoons are cute, but they are killers. If you ever have one raccoon get into your chicken house, he's not going to steal an egg and leave. He's going to kill every single chicken in your chicken house. They slaughter the entire, I don't know what it is. They get into this crazed mindset. They just become these killers. They will kill every single chicken in your chicken house. So if we ever want to have any chickens up here, I need to get that population down. Plus, I did some research from the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, and it's interesting. Every time you see the raccoon population go up, the turkey population goes down. So we'd really like to get some turkeys on this property. But if I got all these raccoons running around, and they're huge, I'm talking 20 to 30 pound raccoons. They are beasts. They are monsters. So I'm gonna go check my raccoon traps. I'm gonna go check the property. We are soaked. We have had about 5 inches of rain in the past 7 days. So anyways, here we go. It's time for the mud boots today. Tell you what, it has been raining. One of the problems we've got is that we've got 2 days of rain and clouds and 1 day of sun. So we've been battling, trying to keep everything in check here. Thank God we worked on all these drainage issues. Like when we bought this place, this was a cement tube that had collapsed. We had to dig this whole road out, and I found a metal pipe back over in the woods, and we put the metal pipe in here. But you can see it's like this is just runoff from the whole property. And this will run non-stop 7 days a week. Okay, first trap empty, second trap raccoon. And I've got six or seven traps total out here, so I gotta go check on the rest of them. Some of this area is just so muddy. How did I know I was going to catch me a possum in this trap? Because I actually had some cat food in here. Well, he'll go back home. I have no use for taking out possums, just the raccoons. I'll rebait that one and we'll be ready to go. So if you watched any of my earlier videos, this is the upper field that has really high potassium, and that's been the big problem. My watch is going off. And this basically, for the first year, was nothing but dirt. Every time we'd seed, it would turn white and purple and come up and die. And finally, we got enough. We kept seeding and seeding and seeding, and we finally got something to take. And now that some of that potassium is being used up by the plants, it's just exploding. But I've got cereal rye and clover in here, and it is just crazy thick. And so what we're doing now is we just keep cutting this, and we're returning all this organic matter down to the soil, not tilling. Now, we did run a subsoiler. If you have any fields or have any food plots, dude, the best $300 investment you can make is buy a subsoiler. It's a little spike with a little point, and it goes down under the soil, and it lifts 18 inches. It lifts that hard pan. It lifts that up, and we did every 36 inches. We ran that through here. It's not tilling. It does an underneath subsoil lift. Man, then we put down, what did we put down? 14,000 pounds of lime down here on these fields. But it's funny, you can walk along. I keep saying this, repeating it, but it's crazy. I mean, it's just nothing but turnips in here. They're everywhere. Look at them. Everywhere you go. Look at that. 2,000 to 4,000 turnips on this whole. I mean, I'm walking on baseballs. I'm basically walking on baseballs, and all you gotta do is reach down and pull one out. We're going down. We just finished all of our trash runs. We're getting ready to cut the back. We're gonna go down in the woods. I need to look for this deer head. We dragged that injured buck down here, and I want to see if he's skeletonized. It's nice to. Oh, there we go. Right there. Here he is down here. They're still working on him. That's the crippled buck. It's amazing, isn't it?
They told them they skinning.
Nature takes care of its own.
Yep. Skin.
Look at this, there's another one. Oh, that's his bottom jaw right there.
Towards the bottom of it.
And his bones scattered all around. That's crazy. There's hair all over here. Yeah, it's because of the cold weather. You know, it hasn't warmed up a whole lot. So the microbiology, all the bacteria and stuff really hasn't started to kick in a whole lot. That's why I'm just going to take this and put it up there in the sun and let the bugs take care of it. I guarantee I gotta order more mulch, because that's not going to be enough. So one thing we talked about was, well, first of all, he's going to mulch this flower garden. We'll turn this into a flower garden. Then I got to mulch all around the house. But John and I were talking last week. This area in here is just kind of nasty still. So I think I've made a decision. I got a stump grinder coming next week, and he's going to take out, I've got about 15 little stumps in here, and then probably in a couple weeks, I need a skid steer anyways. I'm going to come rake this, and we're going to turn this into grass that's cuttable, this whole area. So I'll have another little lawn over here. So I texted John, said, when you get here, start cutting the pond right away. He's over there cutting the pond front. Oh, smooth bucket, and I've been over this 3 times, and man, it's actually looking really nice. Almost better than I expected. I told him next week we're going to start taking this down shorter, because if I keep having all this rain and all these high temperatures, that Bermuda is going to start to come up here soon. Well, it's raining lightly. I mean, good God, I just cut these fields. Look at them. I just cut these things. Look at it. That's crazy, man. I'd really like to cut them again, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get back in here for 5 to 7 days at least with all this rain coming in. So I get the old Chariot. I use this thing to cut the fields because it's such a rough cut. And this thing actually has a pretty good low gear on it. I'm gonna make sure my fan's turned on. Yeah. So what I did was I hardwired my, if you have a UTV you're using on a farm property, especially in the summertime, one of these cheap ones, my fan would never come on. So I did a video on this. I actually just hardwired the switch, and I put a little toggle switch here. So in the wintertime I can shut it off, but all summer I'll have that fan run all summer long because it would never kick on. Now the John Deere actually kicks on a lot. But this thing, this Axis, man, that fan would not come on. So let's see if this baby, I need to clean this thing up too. Give this a bath. Turn it on. Anyways, I got these things cut down even shorter than last time. Man, they look good. These fields just look awesome. The deer will start pouring in here. Absolutely pouring in here. They're already pouring in. So I will give you one tip. If you ever want to clean any of this stuff off and you got a bunch of muck on there, 30-second cleaner. My son freaked out one day because he had a bunch of mold on his truck, and I told him to use the 30-second cleaner, and he was like, dude, I'm using this every time I wash my vehicle. If you ever get mold or that black mold or algae on your truck or equipment, use this. It's phenomenal. Man, look how pretty. So much better. Look at that thing, man. Looks like the day I bought it. Now, 2 modifications I've done on this. This comes with some long tow bars behind it up here. Gosh, it's like 10 feet long or something, so that you can offset it. And when you offset, you can like get real close on the edge of a field. I took them completely off. You have to make such wide turns to do to these fields. For me, it's much better just to have this short hitch. The next thing I did, the front comes with these pneumatic air tires. One of them went flat and I immediately took them off. And these are solid plastic, just like the back. I put the same thing on the front as on the back. No more flat tires, period. This thing gets abused, but man, that looks great. Well, everything's green from all the rain, I'll say that. You can't beat that. Man, this place is just, gosh, it's unreal. It's growing so much. But I just looked at my 10-day forecast, and I've got 5 days of no rain coming up. So it's going to be sunny, it's going to be clear, getting up to 70 degrees. So we're getting close to that time, guys. If you got a warm season along, we're getting real close to that. Make sure you got your pre-emergent out. But this week coming up, I've got scheduled, if you follow me at all, I put in a backup secondary well, almost 600 feet deep. And they're coming to trench that. They dropped the well pump in it. They're coming to trench that, and they're going to trench it from back behind that barn all the way across and down to my main pump station. So if my main well ever fails, I basically just throw a switch and I have a secondary well. When you have a large property like this, you can wait. If your well ever fails, it's easily 30, 60, 90 days sometimes to get someone to drill a new well. So it just makes sense to make that investment now and just have that peace of mind, not to worry. Got a lot of stuff coming up, and who knows, should be a busy couple of weeks coming up. I'll talk to you later. Doc.